Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back, yo. We got an exciting show for you. With Jim Crow, Joe shuts up the civil rights leaders, everybody. Hey, before we get into it, I want you to like, share, subscribe, and comment, okay? And when you click that like bell, or I'm sorry, that subscribe bell, subscribe. Make sure you put all notifications so you get our shows when they come out. All right, my name is Gerard Ben Lamont. This is your resident homeboy from the D. I like to pass it on to Ernest, man. Tell us who you are and what you're about, baby. You're on mute.
Rookie mistake. I'm gonna get it. What's going on, y'all? I was gonna say, good intro, Gerard. I'm Ernest Russell. I'm out here in Lansing, real chill guy. We're gonna get into these topics like always. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. So, stay tuned.
Hey, what up? This is Stedman.
Gerard.
What up? This is Stedman. Here to have another discussion concerning your president and your leaders and this vaccine they're trying to get y'all to take. So,
all right. And last but not least,
Yeah,
let us know what's going on with you.
man, it's very unfortunate I'm here, but I'm here. I mean, in the sense that I'm the fault we started late, so I apologize, people. Anyway, I'm Darvell, originally from Old Town, but I'm now here in Metro Detroit, and I'm here to have the conversation with everybody. So, thank you for tuning in, and make sure you are spreading the word about what we're doing here today. So, Gerard, you got any housekeeping to hit people with, man?
Again, guys, like, share, subscribe. Definitely make sure you follow us on YouTube. So when we go to YouTube, again, click that notifications bell and click all. Okay, so you get all the notifications whenever we go live, or we may end up doing a pop up or something. So you want to hear from us. So that's all that I had in regards to that. Go to YouTube, like, share, subscribe. Really helps us out.
So what's up, Stepman? I think we're gonna open it up with you. I believe we have to have a discussion about some history in the Black community and the medical community and how they've come together in the past, right?
yeah. So basically, they have been trying to. They got a vaccine out for COVID. That's basically the gist of it. And there's a lot of skepticism about the safety, the efficacy of a vaccine. I personally know that vaccines have to go through years of study. And these specific vaccines, I think the 4 vaccines, what is it? Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and I forget the 4th. They've had to get FDA clearances so that they're able to be given to the public, even though they don't have adequate testing. And so there's kind of been a lot of, overall, there's been a lot of discussion about people not being really keen on taking the vaccine. People don't want to risk taking the vaccine when they understand that there are some potential health risks. And so specifically in the Black community, you have a lot of people who are not into taking the vaccine. Right. We have a distrust of government in a lot of these ways and medicine, and justifiably so. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, just to kind of start it off, was the Tuskegee syphilis study. It was formerly known as the U.S. Public Health Service syphilis study at Tuskegee, or the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the African American male. And with this study, it was in conjunction. It was a joint movement between the United States Public Health Service, the Center for Disease Control, so the CDC, and Tuskegee University, historically Black college, in 1932. And what they did essentially was they took 600 poor Black men in Alabama and offered them health care. Free health care is what they told them if they participated in the study. Now, of the 600 men they gave this offer, 400 of those men had latent syphilis. 201 of them were not infected. And what they did, they didn't tell anyone who had syphilis that they had it. They told them things like they had bad blood, or which is like a term they used back in those times to describe various issues, including syphilis. And what they were trying to do was track the progression of syphilis throughout the body. At the time, there was some belief that Black people and white people suffer from syphilis in different ways, with them having an understanding that syphilis attacked the central nervous system, but them believing that for Black people, it was more of a respiratory problem. So they gave varying degrees of treatment, false treatments to these men. They already had a cure. That's one of the excuses people try to say. Well, they were trying to come up with a cure for syphilis, and that's not the case. They used mercury, arsenic. I mean, in order to get this disease to spread, because they needed to track its progression from the stages of infection to death. That was the intent. Okay. And penicillin would have cured it. They already knew that. They had access to it. And in all, it lasted about 40 years. And it only became known because participants, some of the participants from the medical side had some ethical qualms about what they were doing. And so if that hadn't been the case, who knows what would still be going on today with those individuals. With the second article, The Generation of Bad Blood, is specifically talking about how after it's an article in the Atlantic from Van Newkirk. It mentions a study between let's see if I can find their names. Marianne Wanamaker at the Stanford Medical School. Oh, sorry, no, Marcella Alson at the Stanford Medical School and Marianne Wanamaker at the University of Tennessee. And the study that is referred to, I'll read the abstract, but the study is called Tuskegee and the Health of Black Men. So the abstract is this: for 40 years, the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male passively monitored hundreds of adult Black males with syphilis despite the availability of effective treatment. The study's methods have become synonymous with exploitation and mistreatment by the medical profession. To identify the study's effects on the behavior and health of older Black men, we use an interactive difference and differences model comparing older Black men to other demographic groups before and after the Tuskegee revelation. In varying proximity to the study's victims, we find that the disclosure of the study in 1972 is correlated with increases in medical mistrust and mortality, and decreases in both outpatient and inpatient physician interactions for older Black men. Our estimates imply life expectancy at age 45 for Black men fell by up to 1.5 years in response to the disclosure, accounting for approximately 35% of the 1980 life expectancy gap between Black and white men, 25% of the gap between Black men and women. And roughly what that says in this article by Van Newkirk points out is that there is a measurable difference in the rate at which Black men sought medical care prior to this revelation of this 1972 study and after. And there's also a measurable gap in age ranges between Black men of a certain age, older Black men of a certain age, at 1972 and after. And that's the hypothesis is that it's relative to this study being public. So basically, the distrust in the Black community for medical care or medicine is borne out by instances like this, where physicians, where our government, where medical professionals, and in this case, even a historically Black college has used Black people, in this instance, Black men, as guinea pigs for their own ends, essentially. We were used as tools in a machine without free will or any personal sovereignty.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was gonna say, let me jump in real quick. I was gonna say, if we're talking about like the history of this thing, it goes back to even in those enslaved days, where they were basically running experiments on what they considered property, which were actually our ancestors and real human beings. And so I don't know if you guys are like familiar with like his name's James Marion Sims, and he's basically the father of gynecology. But I did some reading on him after like seeing a YouTube video that kind of discussed him a little bit. And with this guy, he was basically running experiments on black women. That was, black women and girls and babies, specifically around experiments that are based in gynecology. And so what he was able to do was create these tools, but this was at a time where there was no anesthesia, there was no ethics. So he was doing all type of experiments, and lives were literally lost. Like, you could probably say, upwards of 50, people who were experimenting on probably were killed in the process of him trying to get these advancements or, push forth the needle in the name of science. And so with that just being one case, we could, like you said, Stedman, you said it, guinea pigs, right? So if we're looking at that, we know that there were other things where they have experimented on black people. I don't know if you guys wanted to, touch on the Henrietta Lacks, event and things of that nature. Yeah. You guys know about her?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Well, I'll give an overview for everybody.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I thought you would do it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was going to say Henrietta Lacks is basically a black woman who, when they were, I guess she went to the doctor, and when they tested her blood, they ended up realizing she has the first immortal like human cells. And what they did was cloned her cells without her parents or her knowledge, and used that to advance the needle in medical advancement. So literally they took a black person's DNA to make advancements in all type of diseases, or I guess not even advancements in diseases, but in vaccinations and other things, in order to push the needle. And they didn't see any dime from that. And so, later it was discovered that that's what they had did. And that was a big medical no. And it's kind of is why it's a part of the reason why our people we don't trust, the medicine or the procedures that we have to do in the name of, medical advancement. So.
Yeah, and then just to add on to that, to other reasons is that commonly in a lot of different studies, black people go to the doctor, and when they complain about pain and so on and so forth, they are always being given, the lower pain medicine because of this belief that, from even back in slavery times, that black people or black bodies can take pain more than other people. This has been, they've been studies actually done, citing that, that doctors typically ignore, black people's pain. They don't treat it the same way as they do other white patients. So, if you just wrap it all up, and then just the history, and then that's just in the medical field, but we in all other forms of life, we constantly see this discrepancy. And so, it's just like, par for the course, right? And when it comes to medical, right, why would we, trust anything different that we're going to be treated fairly? And, so because every other aspect of life, we've gotten the raw end of the stick.
That is 110% true. So, do you think we're getting the raw end of the stick with this vaccine, though, Gerard? You think they setting it up for us specifically?
Ultimately, man, seems like they're pushing it out to us first. At least, the first patient, I believe, patient 0 that took the vaccination was a Black Caribbean woman. I believe it was in New York, or was in the Northeast, or what have you. There's definitely, because of all the things that we just mentioned in the last segment, there's a bunch, there's a bunch of people coming out pushing this to the Black community because we're going to be highly resistant in taking the vaccine, especially due to the fact that it was just pushed so quick and so fast. So, and 50% of people, just in general, right, don't trust the vaccine, and then for our people, we have I believe up to 77% that don't want to take it. It says here as the survey from. Oh, we go back. Okay, we're gonna go down to that. Okay, we can go to that graph. All right, so
Sorry, I don't understand.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they're listening to you. See,
Yeah, good.
they
Yeah,
listening.
yeah.
I don't understand why you won't take this shot.
Exactly. Trepidation is a good word. I have a little bit of trepidation towards it, says Kevin Buck, a 53-year-old former Marine from Eureka, California. Now, this is coming from a military person. Now, mind you, I was in prior service as well, retired 23-year veteran, and we get shot. They shoot us up all the time. We don't, hey, you gotta take it. You know what I'm saying? So when you got the military people like, ex-military people like, yeah, I don't. Hey, that says a lot because we take all types of stuff all the time when we go overseas. So we got all adults, right? So 47% are yes, I will get the vaccine. Not sure is 27%, and no, I will not get the vaccination. So that's all adults, right? So what's that? 7 plus 6 is so that's 53% really that are. But if you add the no, the not sure, and the no's versus the 47%, so majority of Americans are on the negative side. Okay, now if we want to break it down by race, right? You see a dramatic difference, right? So we got white 53%, yes, 22. 25. So yeah, more obviously more on the white race.
77% blacks,
right.
Not saying that they're not gonna do it,
right.
They don't know,
Exactly. So if you look over here though, only 24% of blacks are saying that yes, they will get the coronavirus versus the 77%. You have the 37 and the 40, right? Between the not sure or the no's, right? So we're saying negative, right? Is not sure is is not a positive. All right. So so that's where we're getting this figure from. Guys, I mean, what's you all take on it? Are any of you all going to take the vaccine or?
What I do plan to take it, but I don't think I'm getting the Pfizer one. That's already out the door. That's the one that's got all the hair on its back. It's causing all the problems. Haven't heard too much about Moderna yet. It's too early to tell, but I think because laymen are going to have to wait so long to get the vaccine, unfortunately, it sounds like the frontline workers who are black are going to be the ones who are going to tell us which one not to take.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Stephen.
When Trump was talking about, oh yeah, we'll have this vaccine in the next 2 months, everybody was like, no, it's going to take years. You can't do that. Whatever. So now he going and what? Get shot up tomorrow. I'm not doing that, man. If I didn't trust Trump telling me, why would I trust Joe Biden?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's simple.
Mm-hmm.
It takes years to study the long-term effects of these vaccines. Years.
Yeah. And then even that's like, so for me personally, I wouldn't take the vaccine just because I feel like they need to do more testing, or at least there has to be some trial of success for me to be like, yeah, I take it. But really, when you get this vaccine, you're injecting yourself with COVID, and you can still pass it on to people. So the issue here is, how do they contain this thing? If folks are going to, like, if I'm going to say I'm not getting the vaccine, Darvell, you get the vaccine. If you're not, fully like not passing out any transmission of the disease, I could possibly get it and get sick. And that was in one of the articles I think we dropped in the group chat that we were kind of discussing. And so that for me, that's the reason why I wouldn't personally do it. Because
hold on, let me make sure I have it clear. You're saying that because you can still transmit the disease, you would not get vaccinated.
That's just one of the reasons. But the second reason is because, like, my trust with the government, I wouldn't say that I really feel comfortable taking this vaccine, especially me taking it as a black male, knowing the history in this country. That's just me personally. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Whereas, yeah.
So I guess just from the lens I see it when it comes to the transmission, that was a concern that kind of caught me off guard too. Is that you can still transmit the disease and you can actually still get sick, but your illness won't be nearly as severe as if you were not already inoculated prior, right?
So they claim.
So they claim. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's in the news.
For that part, we don't have evidence to the contrary, right? We have to find who's been inoculated, who has had a severe case that takes them to the hospital versus someone who hasn't. You know, that's the claim. But as far as passing it on, yeah, they've admitted that basically not only do we still wear masks during the first, phase of the vaccination program, but we also need to continue to understand that we social distance and we're passing it along, because it's the virus can get into your body and you can then pass it out, but it can't multiply as badly and as long as it would normally, because your immune system will knock it out much, much quicker. So yeah, no, I hear you with that, Stem, and I just don't want people to think that the vaccine, as far as what we know now in terms of its efficacy to actually lower the impact of the actual infection. We don't know that that's still not there, but it is true that you are being injected with a dead or a replica of the DNA of the virus so that your body can create antibodies to it.
Now, what happens if people re-get COVID after even getting vaccine?
Well, then that would prove. Let's back up. We're not saying they can't get COVID.
Right.
We're saying that the COVID-19 infection period that you would have would be dramatically shorter, and it would not be as strong of a knockout to your system. That's what they have going. And I buy that because I do believe that it's not going to be back up. It's not 100% because they've admitted to it, but it does make sense that it would reduce the severity of the infection. So yeah, you can still get COVID, but it won't kill.
Right. So, ultimately, like what are vaccines? If we want to, talk about it, just like you just stated real quick, the purpose of a vaccine is to, again, either put in a weakened version of the actual virus or bacteria, or a dead version, or a synthetic version, right? You can have those three different types of vaccines, right? So your T cells, your immune, the cells that go after your diseases or what have you, your own immune system internally in your body recognizes it, right? So it comes in, okay, this is a killer to me. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? It starts, defeating it, or what have you. So that's the science. I'm not one of the people that don't believe in vaccines. You know what I'm saying? I do. And believe me, you should have that conversation with your spouse or your soon-to-be spouse, or what have you, whether or not they believe in vaccines or not, because that's a sticky, touchy issue when children are born and somebody says, "Well, I don't believe in vaccines," and the other person does. You know what I mean? I'm not running the risk. But when it comes to this particular situation, me personally, right? Because of how quick it came out, and normal, because normally it goes through a long period of time, and then also too, like you have peer tested, peer reviewed. It goes through JAMA and all these different things. Is the people can take a form of it and go test it out, and prove or disprove what the company is saying, so on and so forth. You have all of that ability, and it just came out too quick, in my opinion, for all of that to happen. So I'm going to wait, man. First, they're saying it's not going to be generally available to the public until available to the public, shall I say, until maybe the spring or summertime. You know what I'm saying? So we should know, just be on the lookout for all of the, adverse reactions and see how it goes. If it ain't like a lot of people really dropping out for it and, and having too many issues, then, I'll do it if need be.
I mean, eventually the government could just require it, just like how we get the TB shot.
I mean, I've taken anthrax, man. You know what I'm saying? So, like
they could require,
I don't think that's the worst than anthrax. You know what I'm saying? So, being a military guy, you know what I'm saying? Like literally, I've gotten anthrax. You know what I'm saying? Smallpox vaccine. You know what I mean? So, I'm not too really worried about it, in my opinion. But I understand. Now, what the crazy part about it is, though, what's different, you know what I'm saying, is that you actually have these two companies, Pfizer and Moderna, but they both have immunity. Can we bring up that
immunity? Yeah.
See, that's another. This is
that's why I want to take it.
It's a little bit different, right? Because they know they're gonna work this out.
That's a trust thing,
Yeah,
you're telling me you don't trust your product. enough to the point where you don't think I can sue you for it.
Yeah, that you
You know
can't
what
stand on it. You know what I'm saying? You know, like motherfuckers say, hey, stand on that then. You know what I'm saying? You know, bet money. Hey, when you ever get into an argument, what you telling?
I know when you really feeling it, you bet.
Yeah, you gonna bet money on it then?
Put it up.
Like, nah.
Right. You can't do Pfizer or Moderna if you have severe COVID vaccine side effects. The government likely won't compensate you for your damages either.
Man, so
that's gonna become a class action lawsuit. Like how
man, it don't matter, bro.
You know what happened with Johnson and Johnson? You know, like how that ovarian cancer from the powder and stuff. So I think they'll try to hold them accountable later on down the line, but
no, they won't. No, they won't. No, bro.
That was an entirely different situation.
When I say the word accountable, I don't even mean
no, you won't.
They'll get money or anything.
Bro, this is no different than like how with the cops with the immunity clause. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like this is one of them type of things. Okay, like for instance, you can't sue the government. You know what I mean? Like for certain stuff, you can't sue, or you're not gonna get any damages. You could try. Good luck.
You can't sue a judge and shit. You know what I'm
saying?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Too. Yeah.
Or like you get a pothole, pothole, and you wreck up your car or something like that. You can't go sue the Wayne County. Yeah, that's crazy. You know how many potholes we got here in Detroit?
Hey, I know. I was driving.
You know what I'm saying? There's certain things you cannot sue, dude. You can't personally sue. And this is one of those things. So let's go into it. Let's move down to like the right below. Just scroll down a couple, Darvell.
Yes, sir.
Right below the immune to. Yep, there we go. The immune to
lawsuit. Okay.
Well, actually move it up just a little bit, man. I don't know if yours. I'm seeing the Stream Live CNBC graphic. If you scroll up, why is yours so different than mine? Okay, yeah, it must. Anyways, so if you experience severe side effects, that's what you're saying. Yep. Okay, cool. So if you experience severe side effects after getting COVID vaccine, lawyers tell CBNC there is basically no one to blame in a U.S. court of law. That's wild. That's wild. The federal government has granted companies like Pfizer and how you pronounce this, man?
Moderna.
Moderna. Okay, Moderna. Okay. Immunity from liability if something unintentionally goes wrong with their vaccines. It is very rare for a blanket immunity to be passed, says Rogue Dunn, a Dallas labor and employment attorney. Pharmaceutical companies typically aren't offered much liability protection under the law. You also can't sue the Food and Drug Administration for authorizing a vaccine for emergency use, nor can you hold your employer accountable if they mandate inoculation as a condition of employment. So you screwed. So you know what I'm saying? Your employer says, hey, you want to work here, you better have that vaccine.
Yeah.
And then
unlawful termination of employment. You can't.
And then you got the two nurses in Alaska who had severe allergic reactions. They're not going to get the second dose. And that's really the thing for me. Like when I had my oldest daughter, we were in the hospital. They asked us about vaccines.
Right.
So me and my wife had talked about it. And we were like, we'll decide when the time comes, we kind of just put it off. So I'm sitting in the hospital room. My daughter's 2 days old, a day old, something like that, hours, I don't know. And the doctor comes in, it's like, you guys gonna do vaccines? And so I just Googled side effects of vaccines or whatever. There's a baby in Wisconsin or Indiana. Both his parents are biology teachers. He lived for 32 days because he was allergic to the yeast they used in the vaccine that they gave him. And so the first thing I thought was, y'all don't know that you could be injecting people with something they're allergic to? Y'all don't check that? And I said, well, no, we're going to chill and just see, what her food allergies are. So when she was 3, we put on a delayed schedule. They used to have this through, I don't know if it was the CDC. They don't have it anymore. You would have to go through like Georgia Tech, but they had like a vaccine scheduler where you could set up for your child to get vaccinated, and it would tell you how many doses they needed by what age. But I mean, like, it's that kind of thing. These women were allergic to it. and you didn't tell them they had the potential to be injected with something that they were allergic to. That's my issue.
Yeah.
In our country, our healthcare, and it might be everywhere, but I can only speak for here. Our healthcare is taken as this blanket one-size-fits-all practice. And like, that's not how it should be. Everybody's different. I mean, we all may be generally the same, but everybody's different. And so my care can't necessarily be the same care as yours, even if we both men, even if we both black, even if we both around the same age. And so if we're not going to address that issue with there being this blanket one-size-fits-all approach to medical care, and then you also tell people if there's any long-term issues, you can't get help, you can't sue, because a lot of times, like the media and all these corporations have kind of painted this picture that people only sue so they can get money. But a lot of these people sue because they have long-term care that has been calculated over a course of a lifetime that you might need $10 million to pay for your doctors, to pay for your medical visits, to pay for this treatment or that treatment. You know, if you live another 40 years and you multiply that by whatever the cost of care is, that might be $10 million. But they treat people like, oh, you just want to be rich. And that's not how it is. So, I mean, when you look at a government who has had a history of manipulating their own people, you know, for brutalizing, when it comes to autopsies and stuff like that, like we were talking about, it's not that they didn't have anesthesia. I mean, they had like, you know, ether or like alcohol, but they weren't even using that for black people. And that's just because they thought and I mean, it's been documented even today that a lot of medical professionals, doctors today, still believe that black people have a superhuman tolerance for pain. You know what I'm saying? So if I go to the doctor, that's why so many black women are having issues with childbirth. It's not necessarily something as major as, you know, black women are bleeding out on the table, but it's something small, like maybe you have maybe you need a catheter and the doctor won't give you the catheter and your bladder explodes. And that's it for you if your bladder explodes. That's happened to my wife. Her bladder didn't explode, but I mean, we had that exact situation. With my wife's telling the doctors, hey, I haven't urinated in hours. I've taken in a lot of fluid. I need a catheter. It took them 20 minutes to get a catheter. She finally gets it and pees something like, she said, 5 liters. And after your bladder explodes, she says it only holds 7 liters. After your bladder explodes, there's nothing they can do. You die from that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this whole idea that black women die, they have a higher mortality rate from childbirth because, like I said, it's like, oh, they bled out or some, you know, real severe issue. It's just mundane stuff. They don't listen to us. That's why when Mike Brown got shot by the police officer in Ferguson, what did he say? He looked like a demon. Well, how does a person look when they get shot 5 times at point blank range? What are you supposed to look like? But that's the framing of the conversation. Right. You look like a monster when you get shot. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. What am I supposed to look like? And so, I mean, unless we address these issues, the underlying issues with the distrust in the community, you can't put the onus on the people to feel safe when their government has impeded them at every chance, like we talked about with the MOVE organization last week or last show. Our government has impeded us at every turn. And so now you just want me to be like, hey, man, I know y'all done fucked us up all for the last 400 years, but I'm sure y'all going to do right by us now. Nah, man.
And that leads us to that leads
Tragic.
us to our next subject.
Tragic.
Doing what they say, what's the definition of insanity, guys?
Doing the same thing over.
The same thing.
Expecting different results.
Expecting different results.
And it's just showing you. And
that's what we should have called this show.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, the definition of insanity.
Go ahead, Darvell. Lead us into it, baby.
All right. So listen, we're gonna roll into this. We need to talk about something that happened, right? There was a meeting, and I think some people heard about the meeting, right?
Yeah.
I think y'all know the meeting we're referring to. If people know what we're referring to, we're talking about the leak.
Yeah.
The conference call between Joe Biden and civil rights leaders.
They leaked it.
That The Intercept obtained and put on YouTube. It was a damning of a recording, and I think that we have a lot to unpack from it. So Gerard, you got the timestamps, right? So you're gonna kind of hit on some of these. You and Stedman hit on some of these areas that we got.
Yeah, I got timestamps on the bottom. My timestamps on the bottom. It's just not labeled with that.
I don't know.
I told you, I got 5 pages of notes, man.
Yeah, but
I didn't want to type all that out.
But if you're not, I was looking at Darvell to do it. It's black people, y'all. It's black people. Look, we let this brother know ahead of time. Hey man, put the time stamps down so we can.
Hey man,
black
5 pages of notes.
Hey dog. Yeah, but Darvell can't see your notes.
I'm trying to say, man, I'm not typing them all up again.
Oh my god!
You have to trust my word.
Hey, so you know what Darvell is? You can see all of that things are in the first 13 minutes of it. If you notice that, it's all the first 13. That's a minute. That's I'm sorry. When Joe Biden starts talking, so it's an hour 03. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
So what we can do, Stedman, if you don't mind, I would like to focus on Joe Biden's responses, and I believe I know you have a lot to talk about in regards to the civil rights leaders. The civil rights leaders. So how it was set up in the call. The civil rights leaders each presented their case to Joe Biden, as Joe Biden just sat there and just took it. And then finally, after he got his turn, we'll let you see. So at a minute 03 and 14, I'm sorry, an hour to 3 minutes and 14 seconds, this is where he says, hey, I have to go.
For real.
We're about to do this the best we can.
Yeah.
See what's going on. Let's get this in here. And so we're gonna play a little bit of this. And
before we play it, let me just give a breakdown of who everybody is.
Yeah.
I want everybody to know who they're listening to.
Can you read it in order? Is what they're showing on the screen? So they know the faces?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay,
from top. So starting from left to right, that's Sherilyn Ifill. She is the president of the the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. The lady in the middle is Kristen Clark. She's the president of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. She's non-ADOS. Melanie Campbell is the head of the National Coalition on Black Civil Participation. Then we have Vanita Gupta, Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Then that's the indomitable Reverend Al Sharpton, representing the National Action Network. He's been a champion for Black civil rights for almost 40 years. And how much work has he gotten done in that time? Then we got Derek Johnson, who's the CEO of the NAACP.
CEO?
And
he can't be the president.
Detroit's finest.
Yeah, from Detroit.
Detroit's finest.
D-boy.
Hey, he moved to Mississippi on us. And in the middle there is another legend in his time, Mark Morial, head of the National Urban League. And then you got Cedric Richmond, who is a senior advisor, former congressman, former lobbyist, and current slime ball.
Where's our Jesse Jackson at? And where Black Lives Matter and Jesse Jackson at? Where they at?
Jesse Jackson ain't in the club, man. Al, it's Al, baby. Jesse ain't in the club.
Okay.
Remember Jesse was on tape when Obama wanted to talk about he want to cut that nigga's nuts off, and maybe they ain't forgave him for that.
Yeah, I think it's so.
Maybe they ain't forgave him for that.
You can't go after the golden child.
I'm gonna play about 30 seconds of this, and we're gonna start there with I Have to Go. Let's see how it goes. Tell me if y'all can hear it when it starts playing, okay?
Sure, I'm gonna mute my mic.
Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay? Number one. Number two. I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on three platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election. And I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happening.
Okay, so Darville, hey guys, I think Stedman and Darville, both you guys didn't have a muted mic.
Yeah.
So there was an
Slight
echo
delay.
when it was being played.
Thank
So I
you.
think we need to mute
no, I
our
was
mic
muted.
if we're going to play it because
Yeah,
we
I
hear
muted
you.
my headphones.
That was just me. Thank you.
Yeah, that was Darville. See, I'm on mine, dog.
Okay. All right. So I mean, man, you
Right.
you saw he came out. Hey, dog,
was wrong
he
with
was
that?
like, hey,
What was wrong with that?
I got to go.
That was the perfect conversation. As Donald Trump would say, that was perfect. That was a perfect phone call. Okay.
Hey, the craziest thing is that right before that, you know, they trying to press him on a wealth gap. They just was letting them know, like, this is the predicament our people are in. And, you know, right away he fired off and was just like, let me get y'all together real quick. First thing, you know, the first thing, listen, ain't nobody doing it like that. That's basically how he came out. Ain't nobody doing it like me. I'm the only white guy. Y'all know who putting in this work. And that's not really even true, you know.
What happened, Gerard, man?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like that. I mean, that's like Trump-esque. You know what I'm saying?
But this is a man, though.
And he'll put Trump to shame, cuz.
Bruh, like
Trump could never get away with talking to black people like
I
that.
swear he can. That's a fact.
But like, dude, it was like when I saw that, I'm like, damn, dude, like he sounds just like Trump. He like, I'm the, you know what I mean? Whoever.
I'm the greatest civil rights leader in the past 100 years. I did this. I freed you niggas.
That's that sounded, man. You even heard him when he said, what did he say after that? He said, I was debating the guy and I called him a racist. Like he think that's fighting white supremacy.
Right.
But you're not going to fix the courtrooms. You're not going to fix the justice system. So how you really fighting white supremacy?
Hey, he's not going to use them executive orders.
No. Yeah.
But see, and that's what I'm saying. Like when you sit down and look at it, right? You look and see what he said and how he responded.
Yeah.
Dog.
Hey, man.
Your tone is off.
What, like way off, man. I'm for brevity of time, man. We can go ahead and jump up to 106.56, man. 106.56, where he talks about restoring voters' rights to ex-prisoners. Like really? Like, so if you could 106.56, restoring voting rights.
Yes, sir. We're gonna get it in here. All right. Let's do it. I'm gonna mute my.
To the effort down in Florida to make sure that that federal prisoners who serve their time have every single right restored to them. That's been my position before it was anybody else's position. I've been out pushing that. In addition to that,
let it run to let run. We're just gonna go together. So 107.21. Just let it run and then stop it before 109. Just let it run because it's science.
I think it's really important that no one goes to prison for a drug offense. Nobody. They go into rehabilitation. That's what we should be building, rehabilitation centers, not more prisons. I have a $20 billion effort that I'm proposing.
Bruh. So where was this?
In 94.
Yeah, no, from 76, because remember, his name was on every crime bill from 76 forward. Where was this then?
On top of that, he said, I mean what I say.
And I say,
what did he say about it back in the day? What did he say? He said, I mean what I say when I say it every time. Ain't no debate.
What did he say?
So you know what he said in the past about us as a people. You know he said poor kids is just as good as rich just as good as white kids, indicating that white kids not poor and shit. You know, we know what he said about black males and AIDS testing, and we need to be more responsible and do the right thing. He means it.
But I'm saying, now is this rehab kick all about because his son is a crackhead and he got a baby mama and all this stuff? He said only, essentially only black drug addicts do. Is that why he's on this rehab kick? Because you was perfectly fine locking us up for this. Yeah. I mean, really, all up to this point.
Michelle Alexander, she just said, like, recent data has suggested that over 50% of the arrests is from non-violent offenses, which are drug offenses. So That just to show you.
I seen one county jail statistic that said like half the prisoners who died from COVID weren't even arraigned. Like they were arrested, they weren't even convicted of anything.
Yeah.
And so that means that's us.
Don't got the money for that bond.
Yeah, man. It's just ridiculous, dude. Like how you can, cause the current, mass incarceration narco state, but then turn around and say take credit for saying I was the first one to say to give voting rights
for 25 years straight.
And I don't think nobody should go to jail for doing drugs. Well, damn, where the F was that back then?
Yeah,
like, he
ain't call us super president.
When he was bragging that it was 53 death penalty offenses in the 94 crime bill. Where was that at?
He said, what you say, something? He said, you could go to, created so many sentences you could die from jaywalking or something like that.
He said the only thing we don't do is hang you for jaywalking.
Yeah.
And he was bragging about it. Like that wasn't even some shit he was saying behind, that was on C-SPAN. He said that shit live.
You can't get out of that.
Go ahead. You want to go to the 9-minute mark real quick on it? You want to start?
So no. Let's go ahead to 110.02, man. 110.02, and let it go. Let it go. Where? Yeah, you know when to stop.
All right.
So 109, 110.02.
The reason I'm not telling you who the other black made cabinet positions I'm going to appoint are is because it will get out. And guess what? I can't defend them. They're going to be out there by themselves without any defense before their name. They're going to get ripped to shreds. That's why I'm going to wait. You will be pleased, I believe. You will be pleased to see there'll be more African Americans in major positions within a cabinet in major spots and more Hispanics in major spots than ever in American history. That's going to happen. I promise you that. And the other thing is, for example, thus far, for example, when we went ahead and we made sure that, I have as, the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, but at number 2 is Wally Adeyemo, an African American, who is the number 2 guy with real authority.
Okay, right there. Stop. Underneath. Let's bring up my man. He said number 2. So first he's telling us, now look, y'all all complaining about I haven't put up enough blacks and Hispanics in my administration. They coming, goddammit. They coming. I just can't tell y'all right now.
Hey, I was gonna say that man a pimp.
But let's address that part.
Go ahead.
Why can't you tell us? You already won, dog.
He said he didn't want them out there in the wind. He said, but
you already won. What that's gonna do? You won.
That's the kind game.
Like y'all said, that sounds like some shit you made up. That sounds like some shit you made up on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
that's that card game right there.
And then you saw you had to go look at it. We said, so hold on, let me see.
And they was taking notes. They was taking notes. What was they writing down throughout this whole conversation?
Nothing.
Right.
They couldn't have been.
Right, but
they couldn't have been. Dog. Who talked them off so slick, dog?
Let me get in here one more time.
Okay.
Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, supposedly to be the first African-American black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet. It's similar to Pence, like Pence wasn't speaking when Trump speaks. He just is a shadow to Trump, and he runs the whole show and decides what Pence can do, and Biden will decide what Kamala will do.
Oh.
There is a clip I would like to play to put this in perspective to show you how much power she's lost in a political sense. It's the Cory Booker video when he was basically sparring with Biden on the presidential debate. And I can share that a little later or whatever. But if you guys watch that video,
I'll link it in the thing for me.
Drop the link so we can go back at it, man.
Yeah.
So he mentions, so he goes to say, oh, hold on. I got one for you. Janet Yellen, the undersecretary, the deputy secretary, Wally. I don't even want to butcher my man's name.
Adeyemo, boy.
Adeyemo,
put some respect on his name.
Bring him up. I sent you the link. Wally. Let's look at Wally's profile.
But see, that's the thing, dog. They call him Wally. I'm sitting here like, Wally? The name didn't really strike me right. Cause I couldn't hear what he was saying because, he couldn't pronounce his last name at all. So I'm watching the video. I'm like, Wally? Wally, what?
Okay.
You got him. Let's take a look at him. He said he's African American. So let's look at his
boy name is Adoma Wale, boy. Like, come on now. Ade Wale?
Yeah.
He black.
That's not Wally, cuz. That's Wale.
That's Wale. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Go down to his family, man.
Yeah, so here it is. A Nigerian, Adewale Wale Adeyemo, the Nigerian American economic and political advisor. Bro, the fact that he was born in 1981, man, my brother was just born in 82. You know what I'm saying? I was born in 79. And this cat, he meteoric rise all the way to be deputy secretary of the Treasury. Like, that's wild, dude. First, look, he ain't even like his parents immigrated over here. No, he immigrated over here.
Yeah.
He was born in Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, what we talk about all the time, man. Like how he gonna put this up, this African American. I mean, in the true definition of the sense, he's African and American. That's why that name has such a problem, dude. You know what I'm saying? And they're masking our failure when they bring people like him. You know what I'm saying? Into the mix. Not to say that the funny thing about it is, I guarantee you, there's a black ADOS American that has his credentials. You know what I'm saying? No doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? He just have a bachelor's degree, and he has he got his law degree, right?
From where though?
Right. So
where did he get his law degree from?
Yeah, was it Yale?
He in a club.
Right.
Yeah, he in a club.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the issue is. Even like for me. The fact and I know, like, when they heard his name, they probably all, because if you look at their faces, it's like, oh well, we got Wally there. But like,
they did.
All these people, you look at all these people, and they've got some kind of connection to, except for Al Sharpton, some Ivy League school or some Ivy League education, and I'm talking about even Derek Johnson. Like, I think he went to MIT for something, and George Washington. Like, all these people have a certain perspective that makes them not useful for us. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, they all have a certain class perspective that makes you. I don't care if you was Martin Luther King III. With their history, with their perspective from schooling, they don't benefit us. No, you're not gonna advocate for me.
Nah, man.
This is your club. This is your people right here.
It's neoliberalism, because that's what these schools teach, man. You know what I'm saying? Neoliberalism, dude. You know what I'm saying? Low government. You know what I mean?
Complete market control of everything. That's why they're trying to give you a $600 check and telling you to be happy about it.
Right. Exactly, dude. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine this, man. Here, coming off the, I won't say coming off the boat. He probably came off a plane. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless.
Well, he was in California. That was a long boat trip.
No, I'm talking about Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about, man. I'm just like, dude, for real, like this shouldn't be happening, man. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what else is interesting? Because, like, so his name, he goes by Wally, right?
Wally, right.
And Barack Obama used to be called Barry.
Barry, yeah.
And Bobby Jindal's real first name is Payush. And Nikki Haley first name is like a Narendra or something.
Right.
Her middle name is Nikki, but her first name is like Narendra or some shit.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's funny because, like,
you'll find people names.
Yeah, you'll find people like, but black people don't do that. You'll clown us if our name is like the joke is Bonquisha or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, that'll be my name, and I'm gonna wear that shit. But y'all come over here, y'all want my name is Wally, my name is Bobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't even have pride in where y'all come from.
And then so that's why tell us that we don't have any culture, bro.
Right. Yeah. You know what At least we prideful in whatever our parents gave us. Right. Whatever our mom or dad gave us, my name might be Quaydarius or Xavier, but that's all I got. That's who I am. But you want to be Wally when your name is Adewale. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of thing where you don't have pride in who you are. Right? So you can't fight the system because you want to be in the system. You don't even have pride in who you are, and you got something. You want to claim I ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. It's just that's your allegiance, man. That's your allegiance. You don't even have no allegiance to your own culture. Your own heritage ain't good enough. You got to come over here and try to blend into this neoliberal, imperialist, Western centered perspective.
It don't even.
And you want to tell me I ain't got no history?
Yeah, I was gonna say it don't even matter who they put at the top. Honestly, for like as far as black representation, like we had Ben Carson in charge of HUD, but at the same time that didn't lead to anything significant for black people during the Trump administration. We had black people in other relevant cabinet positions. It's not going to lead to any development for our people or any progress. So just telling a civil rights leader like I'm going to get more people for you guys, just be patient. What are they looking to get from that? Because it's not going to help the people that's at the bottom, the people that they have to say, get your booties to the polls for them to vote. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So the issue with that is that they're consistently picking these so-and-so, quote unquote, safe people, right? They're picking people who are already allegiant to the status quo, and they're not picking people who actually know what needs to get done for the real demographic of the black community and who are going to carry it out no matter what. Those people will come in there and wreck the whole ship because they know they got to gut the thing to get us what we need. So it's like if they did it, I'm not saying they shouldn't, they should. But Wally is just an example of how they do it, just from Obama all the way down to Wally.
Not Wally, not Wale. No, Wally. Wally. Well, we know Wale at least try to get down with the brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it's not like they're gonna put Cube in there right now, right? They put Cube in there. I guess they're gonna get froze out of their own money because Cube's gonna take it all.
Hey, so let's go to the last clip, man, for me, and I'm gonna let Stedman take over his analysis. 113.28, man.
113.28. How far are we going into it, man?
Just not too much. You'll get the gist of it.
Yeah, I did last time, huh?
Yeah, you'll get the gist. Just the inaccuracy that he stated.
All right, mute.
We can't hear, man. If you're playing, we can't hear it.
You muted yourself, Darvell.
No, that's the issue. Was actually this. When I do it, I have to check another box. Bloop, bloop, bloop. All right, let's go back. Starting at 112.53. Mute.
Plan on doing as president of the United States. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not engaging in retribution. I am not deciding that the way to win is to go after hate with hate. We have to convince people. We have to move them. And one of the overwhelming reasons I won, by the way, is because we took on racism in suburbia. White women overwhelmingly voted with me, and black women were the two places where it was overwhelming.
All right, can we bring up the chart?
Right,
you gonna just make up some shit. Let's bring up the chart, man. Let's bring it up.
We're gonna have to do it.
He's terrible, dog.
Hey, he a real politician. That's the thing, man. Like he 36 years as a senator, and then now he's gonna get 4 years as president. That's 40 years in office. He is the oldest president ever elected. So you know what I'm saying? You know what he doing?
So the title of the article: "White Women Vote Republican, Get Used to the Democrats." If you can go down to the paragraph that goes, but what actually happened?
Loop.
Right here. So, but what actually happened? Certainly, women made an impressive impact, but consider white women specifically. The 2016 exit polls told us that 52% of white women voted for Donald Trump. Right? In August of 2018, estimated the percentage of white men who voted for Trump in 2016 was actually closer to 47%. But fast forward to election day 2020, exit polls indicates that Trump support had increased among white women, with some major polls putting it at 55%. Though we can again expect the eventual figure to be adjusted, the reality of Trump's support is not likely to change, and that shouldn't surprise anyone. White women are not a swing voting bloc. In the past 18 presidential elections, they have repeatedly voted for Republican candidate, breaking only once for Lyndon B. Johnson. Now, we all know who Lyndon B. Johnson was. He's a Southerner from Texas. Yeah. All right. So Lyndon B. Johnson, and for Bill Clinton's second term, a political scientist, Jane Wan, wrote in 2016, the elephant in the room is white and female, and she has been standing there since 1952. Okay. So where the hell do you get off Biden claiming that you won white women in white suburbia? Like, you straight. So we got Biden. We used Biden to get out Trump because of all of the damn, false lies and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, that things come off as, just ridiculous, right? But we're going to get the same thing with Biden as well, dude. You know what I'm saying? Just inaccuracies, it may not be just as egregious as Trump is, but it's the same as well. And plus he's getting older, you know what I'm saying? He stumbles on himself and everything, man. So, it's just wild, dude. Like, how you going to say that? And then, like, really?
I mean, it's the same guy who said all of the comments he said leading up to the election about black people. Even from the grocery store comment about, black women stock up the grocery stores. You know what I'm saying? To black kids need to listen to more of the radio because that's what's going to get their education the right way. And that their parents need to just turn them radios on while they go to sleep, and that'll fix the situation. It's that same guy talking about, you got to really look at Biden like how he framed that corn pop story where he said, I know how to deal with thugs or tough people. He was saying, I know how to deal with black people. I'm just going to act tougher than they could, respond to. And that's what he does every time he gets in a room with a black interviewer, from hip hop to, going all the way down to, actual politics. So.
Yeah, he's gonna run rough shot, huh? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna get his Timbs on, lace up the boot.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, man. So, for a second time, I had more, but that's good enough for me, man. All right, there, man. Well, let's look at your analysis, man. I think you looking at the opposite way, right? You're taking a look at the civil rights leaders, correct?
Yeah. Hello?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so
go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the specific points I wanted to bring up, it's about Derek Johnson. Let me see if I can find it now. I'm looking at it all this whole time, and now I'm gonna jump around. It's at the 1 hour and 22-minute mark. Derek Johnson is talking about Joe Biden is considering picking Tom Vilsack. I think his name is Tom Vilsack. Who was Tom Vilsack, who was the Secretary of Agriculture under Barack Obama. And let that play, and I'll give some more backstory about it.
All right.
Agriculture. Well, first of all, you can learn more about Vilsack's record, but my point is this. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th.
Go back a little more. Go back maybe to 120, 130. Let's see if that'll be where you hear him talk about it.
Present minority communities. Badly needed. And so I wish I had more time. Maybe we can have another one of these meetings before we actually get sworn in or in that area to go into, or maybe I respond to you in writing on a number of stuff you raised, but I will get back to you on the detail. But I promise you, Ms. Campbell, if you read the entirety of my position, you'll know that I've never waffled on what you're talking about. Never. And Kristen, you know my view on the judiciary, the Voting Rights Act, what we have to do to restore it. But we have to do it because we got to convince people. Absolute last point. One of the things I'd be concerned about, just as was pointed out to me that you wanted me to be concerned, Derek, I think it was you said it, about, dealing with Vilsack as in terms of agriculture. Well, first of all, you can learn more about Vilsack's record, but my point is this. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th when the election takes place down in Georgia. But I also don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that, because they've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur.
All right, I thought we should stop it there. I think there was a lot there before we got into the police.
Yeah. So essentially, in Georgia, there was a lady. She's like, she was she worked under the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Her name was Shirley Sherrod, and her husband's like a civil rights leader, activist, kind of famous in the South. And when Andrew Breitbart broke this story, like I think it was in 2013. She was talking about an interaction with a Georgia white farmer. And it was like a leaked audio where she was saying, like, at first she thought, he'd be better served dealing with somebody white at the Department of Agriculture. So she kind of like ferreted him off to somebody else. She wasn't really going to deal with him because he was kind of disrespectful. He didn't really want to listen to what she was saying. He didn't trust that she knew how to do her job. And so after she sent the guy away, some time had passed and he came back to her saying, look, like, I need some help and this guy didn't help me. And she said, this is kind of like when she realized that it's not about race, as so much as it's about class. And if you can help people, if you are the best person to help people, do that job. Now, the part about what Derek Johnson is talking about is after that Breitbart interview leaked, where she said she didn't want to help this white guy, essentially. And like he cut that off. Tom Vilsack forced her to resign. And she was like hugely popular with black and white farmers in Georgia. So eventually the full recording was released where she showed like she had grown, she'd understood that it was important to help everybody, and that just because somebody's white doesn't mean they're going to help white people efficiently. And so it's up to you to do your job and to be helpful as best you can, irrespective of that, and try to show people a better way. So after that happened, then Vilsack tried to give her job back doing something else, not the job she had. And she didn't want to do that job no more, so she eventually declined to do it. And so what Derek Johnson is saying, if you reappoint Vilsack, it's going to rub a lot of people in Georgia wrong. You need those 2 Senate seats because they don't like Vilsack because of his connections to the factory farming industry and stuff like that. And so, I mean, you can see what he says. He completely disregards what Derek Johnson was saying. One, and then you see what he says about the police reform issue. We're not going to bring that up because they're already saying we're
defund the police.
Right. Which, like we've talked about on this show, I understand defund the police as talking about reallocating funds from police to something else. But he don't want to risk doing that. So, I mean, in my opinion, if you're not willing to say anything about it, you're not willing to act on it, no matter what the circumstances. And so you see that tone that he's using again and again and again throughout this tape. And you can see how he just doesn't listen. Even when he was talking to Melanie Campbell in the beginning, because Melanie had pushed back on some stuff he said earlier in his I think it's his plan for Black America, whatever it is. And he says, you haven't read it. And I'm sitting here like, dog, this woman is the head of an organization. You really think she sat here and didn't read this shit?
That's the part I wanted to call out because he was like, I just don't think you read it. I told Rose, I'm like, come on, man.
You know,
how you gonna talk to somebody and tell them what
her she didn't read this shit?
Yeah.
This is
her job.
Yeah, man.
So let's see. I'm a fat. So this is because he mentions Mike Duggan at 109:30. This is concerning his It's concerning, like he claims to be the first person to acknowledge COVID's effects on Black people.
Oh, let's hit it. Let's go to this because we got to bring the Detroit level into it. So
who called attention to the fact that you were finding that there.
You say something, Stedman? You're on
back
mute.
maybe 10 seconds. I would say move it back maybe 10 seconds. Yeah.
All right. We'll go to. We'll just start at 8. We'll just start there.
About it.
Supreme Court. Another woman who was a leading Hispanic in America, no one paid attention to, is on the court. All the people that I pushed on the court have been really pro-civil rights judges across the board. And I, like you, the idea, Kristen, that everybody has to be a prosecutor. I'm a public defender. When I'm president of the United States of America, we're going to see to it that public defenders, federal defenders, get paid the same as federal prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
So we can attract people. There's a whole range of things I guess I'm trying to say here. Look, the whole idea of equity is built into everything we've done. For example, I laid out my COVID team. Nobody's ever done this before. We're going to have Marcela Nunez Smith, but yeah, she is going to have one job. We have an equity task force. Her entire job is to deal with the inequity that exists because of racial discrimination. And Ms. Campbell, that's what this is all about. Making sure that, you may remember, I'm the first person, black or white, who called attention to the fact that you were finding that there was the rate of people who were African Americans who are dying was 3 times that of white people. That's because a friend of mine, a white guy who happens to be, as you well know, Derek, the mayor of the city of Detroit, called me to tell me about it. I insisted that we keep a record on everything that happened since then. Guys, guess what I'm saying, guys, is, I mean what I say. The hard part here is I'm going to have a lot of trouble. We're going to have a lot of trouble getting a lot of this done with this Congress. And so the question is.
You know why he says white guy? Because he doesn't know Duggan's name. He called him Dugan.
Well, but see, this is the thing he does too. He always talks about I'm the only white guy or black or white, and it's just like
did this.
I noticed this, like white guys, older white guys, they have a tendency to talk about race in real uncomfortable ways. Like they try to talk about race in a way that they feel like is relatable to black people. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I don't think about it like that. I don't think about, this white guy, whatever. And it's just so crazy because first of all, there was a study from Langone Health. I can try to post it, but it's from Langone Health, where they say that when you adjust for at Langone Health at the NYU Medical School, when you adjust for hospitalization, for income, for education levels, black people actually do better with COVID than white people do long term. So they don't need hospice care.
Yeah, you're gonna have to post that one up, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it right now.
Yeah, you gotta show approval on that one, man.
Yeah, yeah. And like, I'm not saying that means that black people shouldn't be worried.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But what that's showing is that some of the stuff they've been saying might not be accurate. And because we don't have accurate information and everybody wants to believe science, but they don't make a big deal of focusing on getting the facts before they start trying to show a perspective, then you're in a situation where you believe in one thing and then you believe something completely contradictory without having anybody bring it up. And then also, I'm getting that article, but also the lady, her name is Marcela Nunez Smith. She's from the Virgin Islands. You know what I'm saying?
The lady that actually,
she's from the Virgin Islands. She's from
so another non-ADOS person that they claim that they propping up as, hey, black
y'all need to pay attention, y'all. They need to pay attention. Folks got to pay attention.
Another non-ADOS, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah.
And again, the value behind having an ADOS person in these positions is just to even start to have the conversation about really doing something for the Black community in America. It's been proven time and time again, when you put someone in there who isn't that, they just skirt off with the establishment and nothing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Sorry, man. I just want people in the back to know.
Oh yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull an article up. So while I'm pulling that article up, so he's talking about how everybody he put on the Supreme Court was real big in civil rights or whatever. Now I don't know if that's true or not.
That's not true.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I would assume it's not true. But like, I mean, I guess I don't know his definition of put onto the court. But like, he had a hand in making sure Clarence Thomas was put on the Supreme Court, right, with the Anita Hill stuff. Was Clarence Thomas big on civil rights? Like, is that something that we're trying to say?
He was really criticized for his handling of it because he was the chairman of the Justice Committee, and he was really he was because he had a kind of a gloves off approach because he didn't want to be seen as a white dude being too against a black person, and Thomas took advantage of that with that whole, this is a modern day lynching or whatever.
Yeah.
He threw it back on him. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, it's a
yeah. So I posted the article now, so you can pull it up, just so you can see that from the NYU Langone School of Medicine.
So what we're gonna do, because we are running through the end of our side here, I won't pull that up, but I will show this just so people understand kind of the gravity of the video we just watched. Go, if you haven't seen this video, please go see it on YouTube, people. It's very easy to find. It's just President-elect Biden's call with civil rights leaders. That's what the title of it is. It's on The Intercept's YouTube page. And, you're going to just read the comments. This really gives you the gravity of kind of the stuff we're looking at, right? I'm just putting some on the screen here for people to read. Like, these are just public comments that people are like, yeah, this is crazy. Congratulations, Biden voters. This is what you wanted. A sterile, what is this? A senile old man yelling at black leaders. Please enjoy. That's exactly what we vote. That's exactly what they voted. That's y'all president, the same man that said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I mean, listen, we try to tell people this, and now they're going to act like Black Lives Matter. Like, oh, we don't know why they're not meeting with us. We don't know why they're yelling at us. We don't know why black people still dying. I thought Joe Biden, all it was never Trump. And then when Ice Cube had the wherewithal to say, hey, I got a plan that's going to help real black Americans, real ADOS people, I don't care who enacts it, who want to talk about it. And the Democrats walked away from him. And then the Trump campaign will actually look at it and try to incorporate stuff. Y'all get mad at him. Get out of here. Anyway.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Man, this.
So, really.
Really, to like you guys are saying, the consensus is out. We know that a lot of folks who voted or supported Joe Biden, they did so. They put the horse. What they do? They put the cart before the horse. So ultimately, they're not going to get any progress. They're going to get the same old, and that's exactly why almost black leadership has to be held accountable, because they're the ones who presenting these candidates and giving them the authority and the power, like James Clyburn, out in South Carolina. Without him, there's no Joe Biden. But
and even he's trying to complain now and say, Biden's not picking enough black people. Like, dog, did you ask him to? Was that a condition of yours endorsing him before South Carolina?
Exactly.
What they should have really did is the condition should have been they need to pick ADOS people, period. Not just go out and grab anybody who's got enough melanin in their skin to pass.
Right.
So, hey, I know we got to wrap it up here real shortly. Do we want to go into your man's in them or not?
Guys think? Because I feel like we covered it, when we talked about the vaccines earlier. So we can probably roll it out in the future,
We'll roll out.
You guys stay tuned for that. It's a special segment similar to Donkey of the Day. So you guys will enjoy that.
So, all right. Well, like I said, make sure if you're watching this right now, you probably see it either on my YouTube or you're seeing it on Facebook. But what you really need to be doing is going over to the Freedman Collective on YouTube. subscribe, like this video on there, and make sure you stay tuned for the future ones. But any of y'all got last minute comments before we hang it up for the people, Gerard?
Man, as I'll end it out as I always end it out, man. We have no permanent friends. We have no permanent enemies. We only have permanent interests. And when you have permanent interests, you move in that particular fashion. You withhold your leverage when and that means withholding your vote, because that in this context, that's your leverage. You know what I mean? Politics, government is the game, and politics is the way it's played. And in the way politics is played is you vote for people, right? So you have your ability to get your interests, done. That's what you're trying to get done. That's what you're trying to get, whatever your interests are, right? We can just take away from even saying black or anything, right? You know what I mean? Let's take it away from that. Okay. just imagine this as some sort of like game theory. All right. You know what I mean? And at the point in time when you have the ability for someone that's asking for something from you, that's when you have the ability to say, hey, negotiate and hopefully in good faith, and say, hey, look, I need this and this done. What are you going to do? Can you do that? And then that candidate is going to say yay or nay. You know what I mean? For those who say yay, hey, you back them up. You know what I'm saying? And then you hold them to what you agreed to. If that doesn't happen, then you don't vote for them and you raise holy hell. You know what I mean? If they say no and they walk away, say, okay, fine. You know what I'm saying? See if you can get elected without me. They may or may not. So, that's the way the game should be played. Not voting on somebody just because you don't, you know what I'm saying? You got to go for the lesser of two evils, or what could, what's the possibility of something else happening? Like, we've been in that trick bag too long. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, in the beginning of the show, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. People, we got to move on. From politically wise, we got to move on from that. You got to be willing to say, you know what? To prove that you're gonna stick to it, hey, I'll sit here in this shit for a little while. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that you understand that I'm serious. You know what I mean? We both. If I'm in the shit, you're gonna be in the shit too. You know what I'm saying? So hey, do we both want that? But if you're not willing to pull the trigger, then that's the problem. That's the thing. So I'll leave it on that. I know that was a lot, but
no, well said. I was going to say, just to even add on top of that, like you said, government is the game, politics is how it's played. If I was to give my own definition, I'd just say politics is the science of deciding who gets what. And like we have seen, we have been getting the short end of the stick, and we have been living in shit. So if we want to change those conditions, we got to show them we're serious about changing. And what's the first step to that? We got to hold Black leadership accountable. I know throughout this leadership call that they had with Joe Biden, they stated the same old issues. They brought up the racial wealth gap, but were they serious about actually achieving that change that we want? Or were they still doing what people have been doing since, Barack Obama was in office, or when Lyndon B. Johnson was in office? If you're going to go to these people and say, we got these issues, how serious are you to actually make sure that they're realized and that they're achieved? So, like Darvell said earlier, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you hit that comment. I would say if you guys want to have discussions about this, feel free to leave us a question in the comments and we can hash it out on there, because we know we're definitely active on our YouTube page. So with that being said, I just want you guys to keep in mind. Go ahead. What was that?
Tell the people where they can find you on YouTube, man, or where they can find you on social media.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at Black Contraband. That's going to be at @A_Black_voice. And you can find me on Facebook at Ernest Russell. So if you guys want to get in touch with me, feel free to. If you guys got show ideas that you think we should cover, go ahead and shoot that to us, and we'll definitely consider it. So that said, thanks for watching, like always.
Yep. Stedman, you want to roll us out? You want to give the people just a quick closer for yourself?
Ooh, quick. I don't know if I can be quick, but I'm going to try. Basically, everything we talked about, my previous two co-hosts have said about leverage, about the dynamics of power. I mean, I'm going to second that. And really what you look at when you see these civil rights leaders, quote unquote civil rights leaders, what you see is people who are more interested in furthering their own careers, whether it's political careers, whether it's their own personal careers, whether it's finances, whatever the case. And so what you have to do, what we need to do as a group, and I'm talking about all people, whoever wants to see a change. If you want to see a change for civil rights, human rights, if you want to see a change for workers' rights, if you're upset about a $600 stimulus check after it's been like 9 months since you last got a stimulus check, and your rent is due, and your mortgage is due, and you're 4 months late, and you don't have no food, what you have to do is you have to be willing to take that pressure to the people who are accountable to you. So you got to, one of the things going on right now, kind of in the cyberspace, is forced to vote. So right now, the progressives have the leverage to force Nancy Pelosi to bring Medicare for all to the floor for a vote. But you can use that same momentum and energy to tell the progressives to force Medicare, force something for you, force a better stimulus deal, force another stimulus deal, or we're gonna come to Nancy Pelosi house. Force another stimulus deal, or we're gonna go to what's his name? I can't even remember his name. We're gonna go to Rashida Tlaib house. We're gonna go to Ilhan Omar house. We're gonna go to Chuck Schumer house. We're gonna go to Mitch McConnell house. We're gonna go to Kevin McCarthy house.
Yeah, we gotta show up at their house.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to do. Steny Hoyer is the guy I was talking about out of Maryland. We're gonna show up at your house. We're gonna be at your house on your front yard until you get something done for us. Because you gave your homeboys trillions of dollars and you gave them access to trillions of dollars, and we out here hungry and dying. And you haven't done anything for us because we don't want to see you taking shots on TV. We need you to put some shots in our bank account, thousands. Other countries have been subsidized by their government for their paycheck. And all we can hope for here is if you make enough money that you qualify for unemployment, even if your hours is cut, that you make so little money that you qualify for unemployment, that you can get the assistance they're talking about. And they're offering you a $600 stimulus check. So we need to take the ball into our hands. Don't rely on Al Sharpton. Don't rely on Mark Morial. Don't rely on none of the people in the tape. Joe Biden, Kamala, Cedric Richmond, Derek Johnson. None of them. You have to take the control into your own hands. Get to the streets. Look up your representative. Call your representative and let them know you're dissatisfied. But you have to take control. You can't let the misleadership class continue to call the shots. That's been our problem. We're continuing to allow people who don't have our best interests in mind the opportunity to control what we do, what we say, and who decides what we feel and what we want from our government. We have to take control. So I'm going to leave you with that.
Well said, Stedman. And I'll just close out, again, like Ernest said. First of all, let me stop 1 second. Gerard, is there anywhere on social media people should find you if they want to follow some of your commentary? Should they find you on YouTube or Facebook, or you just out in the atmosphere? They got to find you on the Freedman Collective.
Man, I'm floating, baby. I'm floating. You know what I'm saying? I'm out there. You can reach me out on Facebook, Gerard Ben Lamont, if you want to hit my Facebook page or what have you. And then I'm with these dynamic guys right here on the Freedmen's Collective. That's probably the best bet. I don't really check Twitter like that. I don't they deal with Twitter like that. But anyway,
Stephen, if they want to drop some knowledge on you from their own personal bank, where can people find you, or should they be looking for you here only on TFC, sir?
Yeah. Just look for me here. I don't use Twitter like that because it's ridiculous, and I ain't been on Facebook in like 7 years. So, drop a link here if you got a question specifically for me. You can leave it in the comments or email our email, and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, I don't mess with social media like that. It's a lot of misinformation, and it's just a lot of it gives me anxiety, dog. It gives me anxiety, man. I'm better without it.
It messes up your life, man. I tell you that, man. For real. And just for my closeout, like I say, maybe make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this video. But importantly, as a message, this isn't just a shot at just individuals for the sake of just shooting at individuals. This is calling out real problems that undermine our upward mobility, that further our perpetual accruing of disadvantage. These are individuals and people and processes that are working in 2020 and are working right into 2021 and overtime to continue to make sure that the Black community doesn't see the visions and the dreams that we really have. And you have to understand very carefully that even some of them who do think that they are doing the right thing, they may be using outdated tactics and strategies, and they may be very well being coerced and motivated by things that have nothing to do with our uplift. And that's not to say that these are human people, but we have to move in and start to take over. We have to take action. We have to be proactive as a people. And I know all the folks who are watching this video have the capability of doing that. I know everyone is enlightened now, especially watching a couple of our shows so far, and you know what's right. You know that Biden wasn't the right choice, but we had no other choice in the sense of how a lot of people think. But this is what we get. And the reality of the message is that we should have used the leverage that we had before our vote was handed over to ask for a real Black agenda and to make sure that we had something that was going to help us to hold him accountable to before he even got our vote. That's the only way this works. Now you see the result of when you go in there, you would never had negotiation or an agreement beforehand. And now he's slapping around even the most senior of what we call our civil rights leaders. And this is what we get. And so everyone, please stay awake. Please, not only just, you got to be more than awake. You got to be walking around. You got to be asking questions. You got to be challenging the status quo. I know everyone wants to be comfortable right now. Well, you're going to get real comfortable because they're going to dig you into a deeper ditch. And you're going to be comfortable in that ditch. Too many of us already are, and we got to get our family about that ditch. So thank you again for tuning in today to the Freedmen's Collective. Everybody, hey, be safe. Have a great holiday coming up, and you'll hear from us soon, right, guys?
Yeah. Let me say one more thing. Just let me say one more thing. This has got to be a pressure campaign, okay? The best way that people like these leaders are going to listen to you is you got to drag them. They got to be embarrassed for letting the grown man talk to them like that on camera. So we have to go out of our way to make them feel embarrassment for being talked to like that.
Hey,
that's the only way they're going to ever do anything for us. They got to feel the heat. They got to feel the heat.
Pressure bust pipes. You know what I'm saying?
Or it make diamonds.
Politicians respond to pressure, not applause, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we out.
Y'all happy New Year. Everybody
Happy New Year's. Happy holidays.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Peace.
See you.